just in terms of just looking at the shoulders, if I have my arm like this, the humerus pulls forward out of the socket. But if I bring my elbow in, it lodges the arm in the socket. And then as I arc, you'll feel the scapula is stationary and you're pivoting around. And so it keeps the arm in the socket. So if you can bring your elbows just a little bit in when you arc over the roll, it just is a little better on the top of the shoulder. So we'll start with just the rolling back and forth on the upper back, the extensor muscles on either side of the spine. Breathe deeply. 4 counts in through the nose, 8 count exhale through the mouth. Now we're going to work the segments at the sternum. That's the breastbone here. So if I take a look at this, if I arch, this is kind of a release at the rib cage. It really doesn't change the thoracic spine higher up. Where you want to get is about here. And then curl and feel that you drop the ribs down on the side of the roll that's by your feet. Keep that rib drop and then lengthen around to the other side while you keep the ribs down. So the crown or the top of the head is arcing toward the floor, and then the ribs are pulling on the other side of the roll to create 2 teams on your tug of war. One's pulling through the skull, the other through the ribs, creating space, stretching underneath the sternum and trigger pointing those segments that don't like to extend in the upper back. Fight for deep breathing. And then you can take a breather coming up, flexing the spine, but you should feel it just right under the sternum. This is where we tend to round, looking at computers, so forth. And we get the kyphosis through the upper back. So this is working that zone. Dropping the ribs, arcing. When you round the upper back, the shoulders will also round, and then you get the ape look, which isn't necessarily the look you want to go for. With the rounded shoulders, the rounded chest. You see it all the time. And opening that up. Now we can go a little bit lower to that other zone, and you can hang your head and open your arms and let the legs go. Stretching through the chest. Taking the arm across, reach through, and the roller will go into the armpit or the side of the rib cage, and feel that top heel reaches and stretches back, and your other hand reaches toward the floor. So you're in a twist now, and it's going to make it a little harder to breathe. So you may have to do a sniff breath, which is to try to expand through the rib cage. And then go back to the open position over the roller. And changing to the other side. Top waist reaches long, stretching the arm. Keep trying to breathe as deeply as you can. Draping over the roll. And then return back to that open position. Hang the head, feel the stretch through the throat. You can open your mouth, stretch your jaw. And then one more time, cross side to side. Feel the forehead weight. And open. And finishing other side. Returning back to your middle position. Now, you're going to take, turning toward me, and take the arm behind your head that's toward the floor here. You're going to work the back of the shoulder. You can work the armpit or open, getting to the back of the shoulder. As you go over, it's that same arcing feeling that we did before. Now, you may find an exquisitely tender spot. Odds are good, you will. Infraspinatus tends to be really tight back here. So if we get to that spot, or subscapularis under the armpit, and just try to not fight being there and just allow the roller to absorb, and you melt around it. You feel the weight of your head. You could move your arm and hold it and do little manipulations that way too. Isn't that fun? And changing side. You never get to that spot and it's not tender. Comes from that shoulder rounding again. And I'm gonna move, turn around just so. So back of the shoulder, arcing, armpit, digging in there. Now there's also another area too, the serratus anterior, which is right here at the rib cage. If I go right there on the ribs, that's another option. Scale of 1 to 10, don't go past a 7 in intensity. So use your breath and try to relax. If you're at 9 or 10, you're just going to be clenching and it's not going to evolve. You really want to go for the feeling of melting. Okay.